Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome to Championship live stream review number 25 for the season. Game week 25 is all done. We're in the midst of the Christmas period. Remember, one more game on New Year's Day and it kind of classes as another 3-game week. I haven't been to a game today, so I'm going to try and do this off the cuff straight after the games. I've done all my notes. Ridiculous days events, loads and loads of late goals. Incredible win for Leeds, they've gone back to the top. Incredible win for Middlesbrough as well, they continue their good run. Loads and loads to talk about. Let's crack on with that stupendous game at Birmingham. God, I wish I'd been at this one. Birmingham 4, Leeds 5. Let me know in the chat if anyone has seen more goals than that in one game. I've seen a 5-3. I've seen that's the most I've seen, but ridiculous game at Leeds. God, there was a fight. Yeah, Lewis says there was a 5-5 Villa and Forest last year, wasn't it? Incredible stuff. So let's go through all of this. Great opener by Costa. Harrison on the counter slides him in. He puts Leeds 1-0 up. Then Harrison gets the second bit of a deflection. Radaby Leeds, I might have some bad news for you. Harrison, volleys in, big deflection, 2-0. Bellingham, I'm required to say contractually that he's 16 years old because everybody does. He slides in for 2-1 from Collins cross. He's got 5 assists as well. Colin from right back having a good season. Then Jutkiewicz does what Jutkiewicz does. Bit flappy from Casilla. Leeds' defence obviously was like impermeable until a few weeks ago, but a few going in against Mr. Casilla now. So Jutkiewicz makes it 2-2. Then Ayling, brilliant goal. This one comes in off the right and swerves in the right-footed volley. In it goes. Brilliant goal. Then Bella equalises. Leeds fans, I think Casilla's at fault for this one as well. Comes for the free kick and it's a simple little back header over into the net. If you're keeping up, that's 3-3. But then within the next minute, Leeds come straight back up the other end. Ayling is like a man possessed in this game. Give and go by him. Angles it into Dallas. And then Dallas side foots in the volley. Remember, Dallas is basically, he's been Douglas, he's been the right back, he's basically Hernandez at the moment in central midfield, which is some task, isn't it? So he puts Leeds 4-3 up. Then Jutkiewicz equalises again. Finally, we've got a blue in here. Hello, John. Superb right wing cross this from Jeremy Bella, and Jutkiewicz back post. He scored tons of those over his career. But 95th minute, Ayling turning into sort of George Best for this game. Played in by Costa, hard low cross, and I think Harding is just done. His concentration is just shot with the game, and he smacks it into his own net. So 5-4 to Leeds. They were never behind, but Birmingham coming back for 2-2, 3-3, and 4-4. John says centre back. Injuries cost us, sadly. Look, Leeds fans, I am going to the Hawthorns. I do need to tell you this now, and it's nothing to do with me. But look, when we talk about the West Brom game, this is a good time for you to go to the Hawthorns. So please don't put it on me if it goes south. Leeds go back to the top. Ridiculous win. So the 9-point gap is there over third place. First win in 4 though. I had a look at the stats. There were 9 attempts on target in this game, and all 9 of them ended up in the goal. No Bamford or Hernandez there. If any Leeds in the chat can tell me where Bamford was today, haven't been keeping up with that. But I think these type of wins are a triumph for Bielsa, because it's just the pattern of play that gets Leeds through these games. So there we go. Blues, they'll be gutted. 2-2, 3-3, and 4-4. They've got it back to. Radaby says dead leg for Bamford. So you would assume he'll be back for New Year's Day. And Ketty is starting this one, not scoring in a game that had 5 goals. Interestingly, my team Ipswich sent Georgiou back. Leeds obviously sent Clark back to Tottenham. Does Nketiah stay in January? He's not played that much, has he? Jude Bellingham, that's a positive for Birmingham. Bella Strong influence off the bench, that's a positive. But 4 defeats in 5 and 1 win in 11. Leeds see out the decade, top of the league. Blues 17th. And look, it's nothing to do with me. I will be at the Hawthorns. West Brom versus Leeds. I cannot wait. Brilliant game. First against second. One of the top two is going to be dropping points again. And please God, I've got nothing against West Brom, but I'm fed up of this curse stuff. So I'm all behind Leeds for a win in that one, just so my Twitter goes a little bit quieter. Radaby says Leeds have been top of their league in its last 4 decades. Oh, interesting one. Yeah, I suppose they were going to win the Premier League soon after in the 90s as well, weren't they? That means they must have been top of the Premier League in the 2000s as well. Interesting stat there. Let's talk West Brom, because they have been knocked off their perch by Radaby Stairs, and we still have achieved NAFL. Hey, try being an Ipswich fan, come on. West Brom 0, Borough 2. How many people call that? Come on, be honest. Not many, I would not have thought. Ayala, typical Ayala, goalie heads in wings near post corner. And a brilliant second goal by Ashley Fletcher. Sits up for him really nicely, and he spanks the volley, and it just, you know, when it sits up perfect for you. Andrew says, best Borough performance of the season, not surprised. Sits up perfectly, he just leans back into it, and he spanks it. Dean says, Charlie Austin should start for Baggies. So 2-0 to Borough. Only the second defeat of the season for West Brom. They obviously lost to Leeds as well. First home defeat of the season as well. That is, I've been joking about a West Brom slowdown, but this is an actual slowdown now. No wins in 3, 6 points in the last 5. So it's definitely their most difficult run of the season. Still a 9-point lead over third spot, tied at the top, but not the imperious form of a few weeks back. Although this might just be a case for Leeds and West Brom. They can afford to have 4 and 5 game streaks of not great points per game if they can then churn out, you know, wins at home and draws away, keep up that 2 points per game. Middlesbrough, absolutely brilliant. Brilliant win, brilliant run they're on. I said in the last review that they were going to have to do something they hadn't done all season now, having gotten out of the way all of the easy home games which they won. I said they're going to have to either win an away game or beat a team that's decent, and they've done both in one fell swoop. Fantastic job by Woodgate, sticking to his principles. 3 straight wins, 5 wins in the last 8. They've sprung all the way up to 16th. Reading coming up, Harry, stay there. 5 wins in the last 8, 16th. They've doubled their points total in 8 games. Bear in mind we've played 25, so Borough have doubled their total in pretty much half the game. So can they keep it up? Looks really, really positive for Borough, when I think a lot of people thought that could go really badly south. So well done there, Jonathan Woodgate. Irene says, nice one, Ben. Kiko, anticipate that ball. My God, it's run out there. Yeah, I was asking about Kiko Casillas' fault in those 2 goals. Andrew says, Borough to strengthen in January and get injured players back. Can only go one way then, can't it? Right, Fulham 1, Stoke 0. Fulham in 3rd. Bobby Reid scores again, follows up. Knockout's cross. Butland spills it. But Butland played quite well from what I've seen on the highlights. 4 in the last 5 for Reid. Had quite the battle with Mitrovic, Butland, and it looked like he came on top. And given what's happened this season with Mitrovic and Butland respectively, that seems quite the surprise, doesn't it? Fulham, they're keeping in there with the top 2. They've closed a little on both. It's such a big gap though, isn't it? So in the past 3 games, Fulham scored 7, Leeds 4 and West Brom 2. So they've taken 5 points out of West Brom recently. But any of these teams, and I'm talking mainly about Fulham and Brentford, who want to put up a chase, are going to have to be pretty spotless for, 10, 12 games of 2 points per game to even get close. And I'm talking within 4 or 5 points. So this lead is quite something. But New Year's Day, someone is dropping points. If both Fulham and Brentford can get wins there, it closes up again. Oliver says, Big Jamie coming up. I think he's Millwall. Millwall is next indeed. So yes, 2 teams play each other next week at the top. So Fulham can closing a little bit more. I think they're at home to Reading, so they will expect to win that one. But when we talk about Reading, you realise that Reading are also in quite good form, like Middlesbrough, flying up the table. Stoke, bad day for them, especially given the wins for Huddersfield and Borough. So we were talking about a little 4-point gap between the fourth bottom and the next team up, fifth bottom. That's now turned to a 6-point gap, and this is very, very worrying for these 4 teams down there because you're only really shooting at one team. If Derby score points tomorrow, that's going to go to a 7-point gap. You do not want to get cut adrift if you're in that bottom 3 with only one team to possibly aim at, because if someone wins a couple of games, then you are going down. Not good at all down there. So Derby Charlton tomorrow, we'll see how it looks, but it could well be 7 points. Derby only need to draw, don't they? Fulham third, Stoke 21st. On we go to Millwall versus Brentford. I saw Brentford excellent in beating Swansea the other day, but they cannot beat Millwall in this London derby. Aidan O'Brien gets his 3rd goal in his last 4, but it is rubbish, isn't it? Big press by Mollenby on David Raya, who heavy touch, and Mollenby, if you watch him on the replay, he really smells that he's going to have a heavy touch as well. Dives in there, charges down the clearance, and O'Brien slides it in there. So Brentford go under in tricky away game again in this London derby. That's the first blank they've drawn in 7 games. So props to Millwall for keeping them out. They've managed these quite well, though, these defeats. In this run that they're on, Brentford, a defeat tends to be followed by sort of 2 wins and a draw, or back-to-back wins in some kind of configuration. So expect to bounce back, because they have been good at it. Great result for Millwall. They've been 2 without a win, and they are in this massively tight chasing pack. And this is a theme of what we're going to say probably now for the next 4 or 5 weeks, unless this solidifies, that this is much of a muchness, really. I think Fulham are good, I think Brentford are good, but from 5th down all the way to Blackburn in 13th, any one of those who goes on a 4 wins, 2 draws and a defeat in 7 could well be in 5th or 6th with 10 games to go, basically, and looking good for the playoffs. So really open, and teams like Millwall can look for that. Can they go on the run and get themselves in those positions? Know what it gets like at the end in the chase. It's all about the momentum. So anyone gets in there can do it. We could have an unlikely playoff semi-finalist this year. Hey, why not Millwall? Brentford 4th, Millwall 11th. Oliver says big January coming up. See where we are in May. Dean says anyone can beat anyone at the minute. The Championship, everybody, we love it. Forest 1, Wigan 0. How did Wigan lose this? My God. Figueiredo gets the only goal from Silva's cross. Gerhardt comes on and gets taken down for a penalty, and Windass misses it. The XG, which I know does lie sometimes, but the XG says Wigan should have won this one. And God, this reminds me of following Ipswich last season when we're talking about Wigan, when it's like, oh, we created some chances, we played well, and we were on top for this period and we lost again. Not good for Wigan at all. But Forest moving back in the right direction. 2 straight wins, 2 clean sheets. That's probably the Lamouchi team seem to be built on stability and clean sheets and good defensive work at the back. They are back into 5th now. Game in hand that we keep talking about. I'll kind of be pleased when that's gone, so I can stop talking about it. I think it's mid-January, isn't it? They could go 3rd. The upside of that, they could have 43 points. That would even close the gap on Leeds and West Brom up the top there. So if you want to chase, you want Forest to win that game in hand. And Wigan, yes, on top in possession, on top in shots, passes, XG, but they do not win. No wins in 13, only 6 points in the last 13 games. Wigan are going down unless they win something soon. I know they're in touch, but their run is very much worse than even Luton have won at least 1 or 2 in that period. And Barnsley are on form. Stoke can win back to back. Derby have been dragged in there. Huddersfield can. Really, you look down there, the teams sliding are Charlton, Wigan, and Luton, aren't they? They're the ones that are trending downwards in the bottom 6 that you'd be really, really worried about. TM says Millwall going up. Gary Rowett's Barmy Army. I'm sure that would go down a storm in South London. Forest 5th, Wigan 24th. Right, Wednesday 1, Cardiff 2, away win for Neil Harris, speaking of Millwall, up at Sheffield Wednesday. I really like this goal by Glatzel because Tomlin plays the free kick in early. He's got 2 men on him. It's a difficult one to control, and he's got soft feet, and then he's strong with his upper body, and then he hits it early. Asking for a striker does exactly everything you'd want him to do, and he puts it in there. Tomlin, another great assist by Tomlin. He is like the man under Neil Harris, isn't he? Same as Jed Wallace under Gary Rowett on superb form. Definitely accurate cutback by him, and Hoylett just has to run onto it and smash it in. So 3 goals, 5 assists in the last 9 for Lee Tomlin. Really, really impressive stuff. Bannon obviously gets an assist because Bannon. Corner to the back post, big header by Tom Lees puts that one in. But that's all she wrote in that one. All the goals in the first 18 minutes. Cardiff get the win. So back-to-back defeats for Sheffield Wednesday. Having got up to 3rd, every team, Fulham have done it, Brentford have done it, Wednesday have done it, Preston have done it, I think Bristol City have done it, Forest have done it. This is the inconsistency. Every team that gets up into 3rd spot just seems to, fall straight off their perch, and that's why Leeds and West Brom. Okay, Leeds and West Brom have been excellent, but that's why they've been allowed to make this big gap in between 2nd and 3rd. Oliver says, "Is Sheffield Wednesday getting a points deduction?" Not if their lawyers have got anything to do with it, but I think the EFL, pardon my French, have got a bit of a hard on for giving Sheffield Wednesday a points deduction. John says, many Town fans deluded. Which town? Tell us, John. Luke, get in Leeds. This is the season. Careful, Luke. We said that last season, didn't we, about Leeds? First home defeat in the league for the Owls since August the 31st. They do, however, keep their top 6 spot. Playoff places are anybody's, though, aren't they? Including Cardiff's, who are in that huge, big conglomeration of teams all in the chasing pack. Look, some of them will drop off as we get up towards February, but at the moment it really is anybody's, isn't it? So 4 wins, 4 draws, 1 defeat under Neil Harris, and that's 16 points. Not too shabby at all. So many Ipswich Town fans deluded, says John. Believe me, John, Ipswich Town fans are not deluded after 25 years of not doing a hell of a lot. Don't you worry about that. Wednesday 6th, Cardiff 10th. Preston 0, Reading 2. Great result for Reading. And Reading 3 wins on the trot. If we're calling this a 3-game week leading up to New Year's Day, then Reading are on also Borough, actually. And so are Forest. 3 teams on for a perfect 3-game week. Luke says Reading playing very, very well. Mr. E says Cardiff, Millwall and Reading are the coming teams. Let's see about that. I love this first goal as well, and Charlie Adam, rolling back the years, drives out, gives it to Ejaria, brings it back. Absolutely superb ball through by Adam for Blackett, cuts it back, Swift sticks it in. Brilliant goal. Check that one out in the Preston Reading highlights if you haven't. Probably the best team goal of the day for sure. Yao Blackett gets another assist, actually. Strangely, he's like in the number 10 position. Don't know how he ends up there, but slides it through to Yao, who sticks it home. He's had a couple of starts now and a couple of goals, worked his way in there. Puskas injured, obviously, at the moment for Reading. Preston patchy again. 4-game losing streak, back-to-back wins. Now 2 points in 3 following that. Rare home defeat as well. Their form has been brilliantly predicated on that home form. But they've lost 2 in 4. I know 1 was to West Brom, and that was pretty fortuitous with the penalty at the end there. But they need deep down to be a fortress because not many points away from home. 1 win in 8 away from home for Preston. Reading, what can you say? Fantastic. 3 wins on the trot. Mark Bowen does it again. Up to 14th now. Goodness me. 3 straight wins, 4 straight clean sheets, 24 points in 13 since Bowen arrived. 11 points. Clear of the relegation zone. Mr. Easters. Reading have beaten Preston on their last 5 meetings. Bogey team. Excellent. Oliver says, is the goalkeeper from Ipswich on loan? Yes, he is. We'll see what happens in January with Bielkowski at Mill. So Preston 7th, Reading 14th. Who would have thought Reading would be 14th and Middlesbrough would be 16th about 4 weeks ago? Unbelievable stuff. It's probably wrong with Reading because they did have that run, but certainly those two really popped up there. What have we got next? We've got Bristol City 3, Luton 0. Eliasson actually gets a start and gets another assist. Eliasson has 10 assists from 8 starts. I know there's sort of 13 sub-appearances in there, but astonishing assist rate from Nicholas Eliasson. Lovely, like double step over, crosses it in. Marley Watkins scores. Jeju puts a penalty in just before half-time. And Vyman, if anyone has seen this goal, I couldn't figure it out. Does Vyman backheel this in? If he does, that's a superb goal from the Hunt cross. I couldn't quite figure it out on my phone watching. So Streaky Lee, I'm calling him that again, just to annoy Bristol City fans, sorry. Ends the losing streak at 4, back into 8th spot, and that just says everything about the standard between sort of, well, basically 3rd and 13th, is that Bristol City can lose 4 on the trot, win 1. We had Preston do the same thing. We had Fulham do the same thing. And they're back in there. Luke says he's going to miss these videos when when he only has VAR to worry about. Yeah, my Norwich friends and my Sheffield United friends have echoed the same thing about VAR. So, hey, I'm sure it'll be coming to the Championship sooner rather than later. Where are we? We're Luton. Not good. You know I've got a soft spot for Luton because I'm in Bedfordshire and they're just down the road. But not a lot positive to say, really. 11 defeats in the last 15. Only 2 victories in that time. 16 defeats is a league high. 53 against is a league high. Minus 22 is a league high. They've got a lot of metrics going against them. I know I've flown the flag for Luton saying, well, look, they can win games. They just go at teams. It's just not happening at the moment for the Hatters. Bristol City 8th, Luton 23rd. Swansea 0, Barnsley 0. Not a lot happening there. Points shared. Swansea in 9th, back-to-back wins followed by a loss and a draw. I annoy Swansea fans a little bit by saying it, but I think they're into that slot where they're probably going to finish around there. Barnsley, good form continues. Solid. Look, they've drawn away at Swansea, drawn at home to West Brom. You take that, wouldn't you? 1 defeat in 7. First clean sheet since August the 31st. Really good form. And they're, as I said, they're one of the teams trending upwards. If you look, Barnsley, Stoke, maybe, and Huddersfield trending upwards in that bottom 7. Everyone else trending downwards. The issue Barnsley have got, and you've seen this before, is they're on an absolutely brilliant run. Oliver says Luton Millwall at 12:45 on Newsday. Good luck with that one. Yeah, Robert, spool back. We've done Leeds, top of the league, so they go first, don't they? But yeah, Barnsley, the worry is they give themselves such a big job to do. They were so far adrift. They've had this brilliant run. They've got to stay on it, which means they need basically a 10-15 game run, and especially with that big gap between Stoke and Derby now. Look at Stoke's resources. Still going to be hard for Barnsley, but big up Struber. Absolutely superb run from Barnsley. Swansea 9th, Barnsley 22nd. Barnsley, Reading and Borough all surprising me in the last certainly 6 or 8 games. QPR 1, Hull 2. Oh, quickly, White Dane says Connor Chaplin doing surprisingly well, taking a step up from League One. Very well, totally agree. Chaplin looks great. One of the Leeds fans on said it'd be perfect for them with his kind of pace, and he could probably cope with the speed that they play at sometimes. So yeah, Chaplin looking very good. Chaplin, Moa, Woodrow, and all the squad's young as well. If you check out my video I did on prized assets, it wasn't hard for me to pick out Barnsley one. Luke says Hull seem better away from home. Hope Borough keep going. Woodgate is a hero, says knee down in the chat. Let's talk about Hull indeed then. Dean says be gentle, QPR fans not happy. Interesting. Dean can probably smarten us up with the QPR view there. But home defeat for Rangers. They get the lead here. Chair gets loads of space on the edge of the box, drives that one in nicely. Interestingly enough, wanted Warburton to do this. He did play all of the 3 super youngsters off the front here, Chair, Eze and Samuel. Everyone loves to see that. I don't know whether it's whether they need more experience in there with Wells up top as well. But great stuff with the youngsters. But they lost as we're about to go on. Dreadful from Lumley in the goal for Rangers here. Drops it from Bowler's cross and Honeyman pokes in. Dean says Eze going to Sheffield United. That would fit the profile of the signings they made. We know Chris Wilder as he went up like to number 10, although he's kind of moved away from that since they've been in the Premier League. Late goals is poor as well. Bowen drops the free kick in. No one goes with Irvine, possibly. I could be wrong. In fact, it looked like Hugill lets him go and Irvine makes the run in to steal the victory. So back in the top half for Hull. 2 wins in the last 3. First away win in 5. And they win without Jared Bowen scoring. Incredible stuff there. No goal in the last 3 for Bowen. I'm sure Hull fans will be pleased that he's just slowing down before January, because they're not going to be wanting to be banging in hat-tricks every week going into the transfer window. Although everyone knows how good they are. QPR fans want Lumley and Warburton out, furious outside the ground, says Dean. Rangers dropped to 15, 3 defeats in the last 4. Very similar to Swansea, if you look back at the results. Back-to-back wins, then 7 without. Then back-to-back wins again. So little splurges of points, but inconsistency. Kneedown says Hull will need to get used to not having Bowen. I think, yeah. Maybe the end of the season, though, unless someone comes with Sessegnon money or Madison money in the meantime. Hull 12th, Rangers 15th. Last one, guys. Huddersfield 2, Blackburn 1. Just while I'm doing this, be thinking about your goal of the round, performance of the round, game of the round in the chat, and I'll give you mine. Danny Graham, too much space in the box. Travis crosses it in. So I'm very moany today, aren't I? But yeah, poor defending there. Danny Graham's always going to score in the Championship given that much space. So they take the lead. Stankovic scores from a lovely curling free kick in from Bakuna. He's had a good season. That's Juninho Bakuna, isn't it? Not Leandro Bakuna. And Steve Mounier, what a goal this is. In off the left, right footed, slams it rising into the top corner. Brilliant goal by Mounier for the winner. So the big unbeaten run is over for Blackburn. They took the lead in this one but come away with nothing. It was 8 undefeated, but the points had slowed down, hadn't they? 3 draws in the last 4. And again, they're tucked into the bottom of that madcap collection of teams. So still in there. Huddersfield, they move above Derby temporarily, possibly. 7-point gap between them and the bottom half. We talk about the gap at the top between West Brom and Fulham. This gap, if Derby win tomorrow, is that the death knell for one of that bottom 3 already? There we go. Big picture, 26 points in 16 games, which is decent enough to move through. So look, game of the round today is fairly obvious. We have a Zia says winner of Leeds v West Brom goes up. Interesting hypotheses, that one. Game of the round is obvious because we have a 4-5, although White Hart Dane says Chunt will get something from tomorrow. I suppose all the chasers want Leeds and West Brom to draw, don't they? I just don't want Leeds to lose, so I don't get this cursed nonsense over and over and again. Someone put Hernandez in one of those cryogenic freezing things and get him fit for that one. Oliver says, come on Derby, mind the gap. This is a Millwall-Charlton rivalry here. Look, yeah, game of the round on waffling. 5-4 to Leeds. We've got to go with that one. Complete carnage, wasn't it? Every time. You get something in the air in these games where every attack, the defenders just get so nervous and people are just gambling and everything goes in, and it was one of those ones. Performance of the round, well, that has to be Middlesbrough, doesn't it? 3 straight wins, go away to West Brom, clean sheet, goal at the beginning, goal at the end, superb climb up the table, superb. Cole says, did I see Bryce Sanders save for Forest? Are you talking about the penalty save, Cole? Because I think VAR would have had that one, wouldn't they? Looked like he was a bit far out off his line. Goal of the round, I've got to apologise, because I was discussing this with Steve, the Bryce Sanders can have my kids. Lovely stuff, says Enzo. Discussing this with Stephen on Twitter. I'm not going to go for Fletcher. I'm not going to go for Mounier. I always go with the team goal over the long range goal. I just think every pro footballer is capable, once in their career, of belting the ball in from 30 yards and it flying in the top corner. Whereas the first Reading goal, just watch it back, counter, wait, quick movement, brilliant pass by Adam, cut back, finish. That is my goal of the week. I'm not going to go for one of the long ranges. Luke says, unpopular opinion, Swansea will come good and make the playoffs. I'll take a bet with you on that one, Luke. Everyone thinks I'm against Swansea on that one. Is VAR coming to the EFL? Difficult, isn't it, given that they give 3 parachute teams 40 million every year, but there are still teams like Luton, like Barnsley, on low budgets down there. And we just can't manage it all down there. Player of the season so far, God. Blah, 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 blah. Difficult one. I suppose it might go to Mitrovic, being his scoring rate is so high. Benrahma, Bannon, just scrolling down the teams here. That's up for grabs as well. I would have said Pereira, Bamford. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I think that one's up for grabs. Anyway, top scorers. None of the top 10 scorers on target today. Well, I never, so we won't read out the top one. Knee-down says Ben White. Yeah, quite the player, Ben White. Right, anyone got any questions? I will do them in the feed. Give me your feedback, actually. If I'm not at a game, is this a good time to do the, well, everyone's still in the zone after the games, because I've done it on Sunday mornings, done it on Sunday nights. Rafa Mir is the best striker in the league, says Cole Cole. Is that on paper or on the pitch? Certainly highly rated on loan from Wolves, isn't he? Quick plugs, so then, any questions come in. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Best keeper in the champ. Well, I wasn't actually impressed with Samba for Forest. So I think in the flesh, particularly in the game against Derby that I saw, probably him at the moment. Who is my team of the month, says Fahim. It's got to be Barnsley, hasn't it, really? Team of the month, considering where they've come from, new manager, and the way they've done it, scoring loads of goals. Luke says, £10 Swansea get the playoffs. Okay, it's going to charity though, Luke, tweet me that. Oliver says Białkowski as well, we always used to say that. Henry, thoughts on VAR controversy? Some of it I think is overblown. I think once people get used to it, they'll be a bit less cross, but yeah, it does seem to be setting people off quite a lot. Super Nazi TV says, who will be the top two? How can you go against Leeds and West Brom with a 9-point lead? They could probably register 1.6, 1.7 points per game, which is kind of upper mid-table form, and still make high 80 points. So it would have to be a hell of a collapse by Leeds or West Brom. I'm not tempting fate here for either of those two teams to not get up now, given the position they're in. And look, once we're done with New Year's Day, that's only 20 games to go. And remember, we do 3-day weeks here. That's not a lot left. I know everyone will say, oh, that's 60 possible points, but yeah, it will go quickly. White Hart Dane says, teams behind Leeds and West Brom lack stability. Yeah, possibly. Talking to Johnny Newsom last week. At the Leeds, in the Leeds. I've met John Newsom at the Leeds hospitality before, hobnobbing in there. Right, if there is no more questions, I will say thank you. Really good numbers on this feed today, so maybe I will consider doing this after games again. Millwall to get playoffs, what are the chances, asks George. It'll be tough for Millwall, being you look at people they're up against, like Cardiff with parachute money, could strengthen. But I keep saying, Bristol City have lost 4 games in a row, win 1, and they're right back in there on the edge. Fulham lost 3 in a row, and they're back in 3rd. So Forest's playoff chances, says Enzo's. I think Forest playoff chances are pretty good. I think once they get that solidity back, they had that wobbly period. You think stable teams could be more likely than these erratic ones. Thinking Man 606, lovely stuff. Millwall mentality could carry them to the top 6. You just worry with Millwall. Rowett's quite the pragmatist. Sometimes when it's time to go for it and win a game, they'll sometimes sit back and go for a draw. Also with Millwall, we need to think about Neil Harris having access to all that money in the transfer window coming up, and him wanting to just get familiar players, and Cooper or Wallace or Białkowski could be available there, whether he takes decent players out of Millwall, and that sort of shoots them in the foot, so to speak. Right, I think we are there. Great feed today. Thank you everybody for the participation. Like I said, really good numbers, really good question. Let's keep going, come on. Have QPR got any money? Knee down us. They have, but I think the play thing, they've got bored, haven't they now, the QPR guys, so I don't think they will be spending it, and they'll just get slayed on FFP. It's a small stadium there, isn't it? They don't generate too much match day income. Dean says FFP. No, I think I don't know the ins and outs on this, but they're still paying back the fine. Although Kieran Maguire argues that they'll never pay it back, but I think that's in there. Reading for the playoffs, says Mark. Well, that's a hell of a shout. If you took their form from the day Mark Bowen took over and extrapolated that to the end of the season, they would be close. But that is a very, very big ask. But what I will say is Puskas, Maite, Yao, Baldock, Boye, they've got quite a lot of good attacking players, and Swift is excellent, isn't he? So I tell you what, Jackie Babs just says Leeds. Swift would be really good at Leeds next to Klitsch, wouldn't he? I just wonder whether he's pacey enough to get about the pitch, but that would be a good sign. It'd be interesting to see if Leeds do anything transfer window wise, particularly after fingers were burnt at Dan James last season. Henry, my favourite stadium in the Championship. My God. Love Elland Road. Love Craven Cottage more for the appearance. Looking forward to that new stand being built there. Griffin Park as well. Forest is going to be great once that new stand is built. Sheffield Wednesday oozes history, doesn't it? And then you've got a lot of new ones. QPR's fun if you're not sat behind a post, isn't it? I love the walk up and how kind of industrial Birmingham is as well. Derby, you get a lovely view, don't you? So loads of good ones. I like the big ones, the historic ones. So probably Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday, Fulham. Really, those three. Dean says Griffin Park going. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if the last game at Griffin Park was a playoff game? Samuel says, what does Benjamin order from the Chinese? I genuinely, if I can switch that question, I prefer an Indian to a Chinese. If I'm going to get a takeaway, or a Wagamama. Spectacular. Concourse heaters, says Dave. Is he talking about Derby? He must be. There we go. Ellen Rose has a McDonald's right outside. I'll get slayed for this comment. Milton Keynes Dons, that everybody seems to hate, has a Wagamama right outside. Unbelievable scenes. Safe standing. Wouldn't Ellen Road be great with safe standing, especially that little stand behind the goal near the away fans? That would be awesome. It's coming. Food reviews, please, Ben. Deary me. Josh says, just turned it on, forgive me. Did you watch the Leeds game? And do you think they missed Bamford? Interesting. Well, they scored 5 goals without Bamford, so there you go. Why isn't Birmingham the biggest team in England, second biggest city with only Villa borrowing them? Yeah, years of pain for Birmingham fans. Yeah, would probably be the answer to that. Right, 37 minutes. You've been amazing staying this long. It's probably a world record length stream. So I will be off now. We'll try and get a preview done before New Year's Day. And Leeds fans, please leave me alone. But I will be at West Brom versus Leeds, and it's not my fault if you lose. Also, Mr. Wayne Rooney may be making his debut for Derby on January the 2nd, so I may be at that one. See, look, they're all slaughtering me already in the feed. I have no bearing on Leeds results, I promise, even though it looks awful. I'm not in the Leeds end, I'd probably get lynched in there, wouldn't I? I'm halfway line in the West Brom stand. So, but if anyone from the channel is going, send me a tweet and I will happily meet up outside and we'll do a bit of filming, get your predictions and stuff. Right, I've said goodbye 100 times already, so goodbye everyone. Happy New Year. We'll try and get the predictions preview streaming before that, but if I don't, which is a possibility, I've got to get my breaks done tomorrow and then I've got to work on New Year's Eve in the evening. So yeah, we'll trying to keep up with this mammoth load of fixtures. Thank you again to everybody watching. Been a brilliant stream, and I'll see you all very soon. Over and out.